You didn't find the pyramid, it chose you. You thought you were the explorer. From the very beginning, you were only the prey. The pyramid isn't silent, it whispers to those brave enough to enter. This isn't a journey of discovery, it's a summoning. The deeper you go, the clearer it becomes. And if you feel that pull, drawing you deeper into the mystery, where memory and dust collide, then welcome to Echoes of Dust Chronicles, where memory and dust collide.
Episode 8. Arthur's Journey, the incomplete puzzle, a farewell and a new burden. I held the ancient golden key in my hand. A chill ran down my spine, yet deep inside, a strange heat surged. It wasn't just an inanimate object. It carried the weight of a story, a warning, and perhaps even a curse. The old keeper's eyes were filled with worry and hope, as if he were passing on a mission he himself could never complete. He said nothing more, only gave a slight nod. It was both a farewell and a silent push forward. I knew then there was no turning back. Every path behind me had already been locked. As I stepped out of the door marked Arthur's Archive, a heavy emptiness hit me. The door shut behind me and I found myself back in the familiar alley. But everything had changed. The air was no longer crisp. It was heavy and laced with mystery. The sunlight, once warm, now felt cold, like a silent reminder that I had entered a different world. A world of secrets, of warnings, and of dreams. I returned home. The ancient box still sat on the table, now more like a challenge than a relic. It was no longer just an artifact. It was a door, a gateway to somewhere else. I sat down, staring at the box, then at Arthur's notebook, and finally the key in my hand. Everything was connected, and yet I couldn't see the full picture. It felt like I was standing before a massive puzzle, with the most crucial pieces still missing. And those missing pieces could only be found in dreams. The opening of the book and Arthur's sleep. I picked up Arthur's notebook and tried to make out the fading handwriting. It wasn't just a record of discoveries. It was a diary of a man slowly losing his sanity. I could feel his obsession, his anxiety, and somewhere in between, his hope. He had spent his life searching, decoding. I flipped through pages filled with sketches and maps. They weren't random. They formed a map, a path. Each symbol, each drawing held a secret. Night fell. Exhausted, I drifted off at the desk. Arthur's notebook rested on my chest, the key still gripped in my hand. I fell into sleep, but this time the dream wasn't mine, it was Arthur's. I wasn't myself anymore. I was him, the ancient library and the forgotten oath. I found myself in a vast library, just like the old keepers. But I wasn't me, I was Arthur. I wore his aged clothes, held an oil lamp, and walked through towering shelves. My face, or rather Arthur's, was weary, but his eyes burned with purpose. I heard my voice, his voice speaking. History was never written, it was erased. The box is the key to decode everything. I saw myself flipping through a thick tome filled with glyphs and strange symbols. I was searching, studying, obsessed. The voice repeated, "History was never written, it was erased. The box is the key to decode everything, the ritual of the broken." I was in a hidden chamber, just like the one from my dreams. I stood in the center of a circle, drawn in blood and bone. The ancient box glowed in the middle. As Arthur, I reached toward it. A surge of energy erupted. I heard the voice, Arthur's voice again. "You don't uncover the pyramid uncovers you." I was losing consciousness. Something was taking over. The desert confession. I was now in a vast desert beneath a star-filled sky. The glowing box lay on the sand. As Arthur, I approached. The voice whispered once more, "Which subject were you?" I was slipping again, my thoughts unraveling. Then came a different voice. Not a whisper, a command. Open the door. I jolted awake. It was the door from my dream, a haunting awakening. I woke up gasping, drenched in cold sweat. My eyes locked on the ancient box. The key was still in my hand. Arthur's notebook still on my chest. But something had changed. I flipped open the notebook and found a new page. It was written in my own handwriting, but it wasn't mine. It was Arthur's. You cannot control it. It has already taken me. You can't do this. You must stop. End of episode 8. Cut to black. Episode 9. Erased writings, a link to a lost civilization.